being obviously when you're doing a startup or when you're running a startup, you have a certain idea on the kind of field of work that you're doing, and maybe that might limit a lot of options. But I don't think that it has a limitation.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pioneers Pathway Podcast. As always, I'm here, Liam Villani, but I'm also joined by my amazing co-host Sharia Garkul. How are you doing, Sharia?
All good, Liam. All good. So I've seen, you're really enjoying hosting it these days.
Yeah, I seem to be doing quite a lot of them. It's fun. It's fun. Obviously, it's nice that we both sort of share those responsibilities. Our listeners get different a different format, a different style each time we change it. But yeah, it's nice. It's been nice to do it. And we've got an amazing guest on today. So should we kick off today's episode?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to let the guest give himself an introduction because I wouldn't be able to do justice to the work he's done and the experience he's got. But we're really really happy today to be able to welcome Manu onto our podcast. How you doing, Manu?
Great, Liam. I'm doing great. It's a little chilly in Madrid,
Do
but
you,
it's great.
do you want to give our guests a bit of an introduction to who you are, what you've done, what you're doing at the moment, and yeah.
Of course, yeah. So I'm Manu, and I'm from India, and I've done my undergrad in economics, and I've ended up doing a 1 year interwoven degree, sort of like a um, postgraduate degree in interwoven sciences, where I did courses in philosophy, politics, economics, a sort of a mix of everything, to develop my skills on a lot of different aspects, right? And then I now in Madrid. Doing a dual degree, the main master's in management and applied economics. And in between, I've also ended up working with my father to start a startup in UAE.
Nice.
So very well educated, lot of different experience in very different subjects, which is really cool actually. But if I'm not mistaken, so you're doing your second postgraduate, right?
Yes, but even though the first one
Yeah.
wasn't like a 2 year thing, it was like a 1 year thing. So that was mainly
Well,
just to build my skills on a holistic level.
well, amazing. Yeah, that kind of puts it in perspective. It's a lot of studying you've done, a lot of different experiences you've done. I think today we wanted to sort of focus in on your experience in the business and entrepreneurial sector. You said that you've worked on startups. Well, you worked on the startup in Dubai. But a lot of that has stemmed down from the family business and the family business that you were sort of born into and what you've had the experience with. If we start up at an early stage, what was the exposure like to the family? And was that like really pivotal for how it shaped your understanding of entrepreneurship and business operations?
As for as long as I can remember, my father's always been an entrepreneur. He was always doing something. Right? He was initially when we were in Dubai, he was working in foodstuff trading, and then when he moved to India, he set up his own factory for building boxes, corrugated boxes. So all in all, my basic understanding of business was just working on something and then really seeing it reaches the seeing it reaches the fruit by putting in the effort and time and because and then all of those ideas sort of shape me in the future in the sense that it sort of instilled the importance of persistence where because there were times when things may not be looking too well, right? But then seeing how my father has coped up and actually ended up doing successfully was through just sheer hard work and these are some of the ideas or some of the mindset that my family business has given me. And yeah, through and that I could see throughout my college life or even during my time in my startup. So the main key is persistence, and that's something that really stood out to me, and that's something that got instilled into me.
And now,
Do you
obviously,
think?
you
Oh,
do
no,
you
go
want to
ahead,
go for
Sharia.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead,
So
go ahead,
now,
go ahead.
obviously, you run your own startup. So, what is it like, having before I assume you would have had like a basic level exposure, but now you're heavily involved. So what's that been like?
So I wouldn't say it's a big jump because even in my high school or during the first 3 years of my undergrad, whenever I got the break, when I had like a break in college, I used to go back to my father's company and work there for a bit. And, and over there, the whole general idea and the whole belief was that this isn't something okay. It's all a part of yours, right? So it's there's a sense of belonging, and then so in the time, effort, and then the detail, attention to detail that you put in, I've sort of learned it from my time in his company. So where everything that you need to get done, it's almost like you need to personally see it, and then you've got to make sure that's working out pretty well. So those attention to detail and the small experience that I got there really helped me run a startup. So it doesn't seem like a big jump. But yes, definitely starting something of my own, and then although with my father, and then really working on it to achieve something is completely different. But it wasn't that big of a jump. That's what I can say.
And so now you've obviously studied a lot, you've experienced a lot, and you're over in Madrid. And you've got like the opportunity to have your own aspirations, right, in the business world, in entrepreneurship. Do you think there's do you find it hard to balance your own aspirations with the work that you've grown up with, been so involved? Is that sort of getting that balance, or do you think you've got the opportunity to grow yourself as well?
So I believe I have the opportunity to grow, and then fine. Being obviously when you're doing a startup, or when you're running a startup, you have a certain idea on the kind of field of work that you're doing, and maybe that might limit a lot of options. But I don't think that it has a limitation because that is something as a project that I'm doing now, and obviously me and my father we're working on it together. So I feel it is always putting me in a position to learn, right? So it's pushing me towards something that I've never done before. So maybe negotiating with the supplier, or talking to the customer, right? So all of those initially when I got into it, that was something completely new, and then I feel true growth for me especially happens when I'm put in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, or in a situation that I've never worked before, and that's how I can learn and grow. And this experience and all of my other internship experience has definitely highlighted that, right? So where I'm able to just work new and then learn new things and build new skills and develop new. Yeah.
Perfect. No, perfect. Sharia, did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
No, no. Liam, I think you've cut out.
Can
Yeah,
you hear
you're
me
back.
now?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it back? Is it back? Is it back? Good, good.
yeah.
I was just messaging you. Sorry. If I do cut, I'll keep going with the questions, Sharia.
Sure.
But yeah, no, was there anything else you wanted
No,
to add on
no.
to that? I think it'll be really interesting to sort of focus in a bit more on your experience in Dubai and the UAE, right? Because obviously you've done so much for the startup and the family business area. What have you learned from sort of working in that environment and that culture? It's completely distinct from India, from the West, and obviously they're growing really, really fast and it's a big area of opportunity. What's it been like working there?
So I feel Dubai is a very good mix of India, as well as, I mean, uh, of the global south as well as the west, right? So it's in my opinion it's a perfect mix of both. So and the great opportunities that you have in Dubai is unparalleled. So for example, when I started my startup, I had to talk to people and interact with people of different cultures, and the way they do business are different. So for example, my Sri Lankan customers might not be dealing with me the same way my Indian customers would be, or they would not be communicating with me how my Russian suppliers would be, or my Eastern European suppliers would be. So if you're doing something in Dubai, I feel you're able to talk and work with such a wide variety of cultures and the way they do business that you really learn, and then you learn so much that because that quite often this is something that you've never thought of, right? Maybe the way they deal with you, or the way you handle business might be completely different from the way they're doing. So it's actually a complete new avenue that I could step into and then learn and really grow from that. Initially, obviously, there were I was finding it a little hard, but then that's when true growth happens. That's when you really put in the effort and really learn. And I feel this experience has helped me broaden my mindset and really learn about a lot of new things. And that by far is what I think Dubai has really taught me. And considering Dubai has always been open to investors or businesses from all around the world to set up because of the leaders' visions, I think Dubai is a perfect place. It's a mix of India or Southeast Asia as well as the West, and obviously the
So
location.
if I'm correct in saying Dubai was a natural choice for you guys, you didn't look at anywhere else in the Middle East. Dubai was the best chance for opening up that market.
So, so, the thing is, my family already was in Dubai, and we sort of had a base in Dubai. But more than that, if you look at it, Liam, for the past like 20 years, 20, 30 years, amongst there have been slight conflicts and you know uncertainties in the Middle East, but Dubai has always been stable, and it's always been safe and stable because the leaders or at least the sheikhs of Dubai, they were really focused on something on the future, right? So it's extremely easy as you would know to set up a business in Dubai as compared to most of the rest of the world. Yeah, there might be some documentation, but in general, it is very easy to set up a business in Dubai with very little government involvement. And then, apart from that, it has a very strong connection to most of the GCC countries as well as North Africa, and that, in my opinion, made it the perfect choice for us to, yeah,
So
set it up.
what's your view at the moment on the UAE's economic expansion? Do you think sustainable? Do you think there's opportunities going forward? And where do you see those in the next maybe like 5 to 10 years? Where are you seeing the economy standing and the opportunities for business there?
Hmm. I think that's a great question, Liam. But then I feel Dubai will always have opportunity, mainly because of two reasons. One is its location, and the second is the vision of the leaders. So if you're looking at the location, like I said before, right, Dubai is in the perfect location. It is very strongly poised to connect any of the GCC countries, and then you hear about the developments that are happening in the GCC. You have massive infrastructure projects in say Saudi and rest of the Middle East, and Dubai is the safest, or you would think it's a well-established center that has perfect connection to all these places as well as North Africa and Southeast Asia. So there's already an established there's already an established infrastructure and to make Dubai the perfect trading spot. So in my line of work, trading is the primary focus. So this is always going to hold. The second thing about Dubai's leaders, if you look at it, I mean, as the entire world knows, Dubai has one of the lowest tax rate, almost 9%, I believe they're going to implement of corporate taxes, which is very low compared to the rest of the countries. And that coupled with the opportunities it provide, I feel Dubai will always have a very good opportunity or a very good potential for any investor, be it in any field, but especially from the context of trading, international trade. I think Dubai will always hold on to uh, securing the top spot.
And do you expect to see competition in the future from Saudi or Qatar down the line?
Yes, yes. That could potentially be it, but also it's not like Dubai. I mean, I'm sure there will be competition from Qatar or Saudi, but then you also in my opinion, the leaders of Dubai, the laws that they're crafting, yeah, it's dynamic. They keep on changing it, and then they keep on bringing in new things, and all of that is they're sort of diversifying their trade too. So I think the sure will be competition, but that in no way I think will really diminish the potential of Dubai because the demand's also growing with it. So I think Dubai is still going to hold a very strong position. And considering it is already established as a major hub as compared to the newer coming hubs of maybe Qatar or Saudi, I think Dubai will still hold a very strong position.
Yeah, I
And
agree
so,
because
yeah,
yeah, no, I
no, no,
agree
go ahead, sorry.
because Dubai, they've been investing, heavily for the past, 10, 15 years. So they do have that, established, market already. And Dubai is great. I don't know a single person who doesn't love Dubai, right?
Yeah, everyone is like, yeah, let's go to Dubai if you have a vacation, and it's like party hub. But yes.
I just wanted to sort of you've spoken about the lessons you've learned and sort of the obstacles you have to go through. If you could maybe sum up in three ways to someone one of our listeners who are thinking of getting into business in Dubai, what three things do you wish you had known before you started off your journey there?
Um, I think the three things would be one is definitely persistence. That's with any business, and you've got to
But
really be
so
persistent.
in Dubai especially, do we have to be more persistent? And is that just a thing that you need to do?
I mean, be it anywhere, but especially if in from my experience, there have been setbacks initially when we started. I mean, not because of the location of the buy, but just in general with procuring the customers and dealing with uncertain people, and sometimes people may not always be the easiest to deal with. So maybe talking to really interesting people and then learning about new cultures. So all of that, I believe, only if you're persistent and then you really keep at it and then you know what you want and then you sort of keep at it is when you'll actually make it. And there's and another thing that I really uh, would suggest is keeping an open mind because like I said, it's again it's the main issue about the cultures and the differences. So when it's very easy to get demotivated when things don't go your way, but that's just the beginning, right? That's just how it is. And then uh, especially in a place like Dubai where you're talking to people not only from the West, also people from the southeast or India or Sri Lanka or North Africa. All of them have a complete so you have to really tailor make your approaches to all of these people and all of these businesses, and then the competitive pricing and all of that. So really keeping an open mind and the willingness to adapt, coupled with your persistence, I think will make anyone who wants to set up a business in Dubai or anywhere in the world, but especially in Dubai, very easy. These were some of the main things that I think anyone
No,
should
no,
work
it's
on.
really interesting, and it's good to get those insights from someone who's done the experience, right, and who's been there. No, that's really really good. I think sort of moving on a bit away from Dubai, we wanted to talk about your capstone. Now, maybe that's come about with our discussions. I think we've mentioned it in the past. Also looking at your LinkedIn as well, you speak a lot about your capstone project and game theory, which I think is really interesting, and we've not spoken about on the podcast. Are you able to give our viewers a bit of a insight into game theory in general and what you did in your capstone project? Which to people who don't know, it's when you finish your undergrad, right? Or at the end of your undergrad, you do a
Yeah,
massive project, right? Yeah, you able to talk a bit about that and sort of what game theory is to the layman person.
of course. Game theory is basically you trying to model what is the best decision that you can do. So, for example, I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard about the classic prisoner dilemma case where you have two prisoners kept in a cell in different cells, and then the cop comes and tells the guy, hey, listen, if you snitch on your friend, you will get say X amount of time in prison, which is about, assume it's 10 years. And then they go to the other friend in the other prisoner and say, if you snitch, you get, I mean, they get 10 years and you get zero. But then if both of them snitches, they'll get five years. But if both of them don't snitch, they can walk away scot free. Now the point is, logically everyone would be like, yeah, we won't snitch, but then you really can't control someone else's action. So the best option is always to snitch. Now, this is just a snippet of the prisoner's dilemma. It's just one game in game theory. So the whole point of game theory is to uh, counting for the uncertainties that the other people's decisions make. What is the best response that you can do to protect yourself, or the best response that you can do to give you the most best outcome, right? So I felt it really interesting because so we were given an option to do a capstone in our undergrad, and then since I was doing economics, a lot of the economic capstone projects they were very theoretical, and I felt it would be really interesting to see if I can model mathematically what would be the best option, especially for something as important as agri-residual burning, which is basically once the harvest is done, the farmers in India generally burn their entire field of agri-residue, agricultural residue, and then because it's much more economical for them to burn it rather than actually put in the machines and hire people to pluck it out. And what this does is it actually engulfs cities like Delhi or the surrounding regions in complete smog and dropping the air quality really low, making it really hard to breathe. So I thought, maybe I could use some of this knowledge, or I could try, right? From my point of view, as an undergrad, obviously you might not end up with the perfect solution, but the whole point is to see if you can come up with this. Break down the problem into smaller issues, which later on can be solved or could be the basis for further research. So that's sort of what got me into game theory, and this is a basic idea of game theory. And yeah,
Do you think that it's important for business people to have that mindset, right, and to be able to take theory into practice? And because a lot of people go into business maybe not knowing the theory, not doing as much of the insight into that because they think it's so detached from what they're going to be doing, right? But do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I so so I would say I agree with it, but again, I've met so many people who do not have a business degree doing extremely well in business, or having a very good entrepreneurial mindset, and having that intuition to do well. Now that's definitely like a skill that they have. But again, I mean, there's a whole point that we are in business school, right, Liam? We are in business school because we want to build on skills, and we do have, of course, a competitive strategy where we use game theory, or just to give an example, game theory to sort of find the best solution. So all in all, I feel if you have the knowledge and if you have the skills to acquire it, it's always best to use it and see how you can connect it in businesses, in the business that you're starting, not because it might always give out the perfect solution, but I feel it'll also help you, move away from a lot of the problems that you might end up being in. So, for example, if there's an issue with say production, right? Maybe some concept in supply chain can really help you find out where the bottlenecks are, and then focusing your resources over there. So all of that, like now, even without your knowledge in supply chain management, you or operations in supply chain management, you might still be able to do the same thing, but then the chances of you doing that will reduce, and also you might actually fail a couple of times before you uh, get to that solution. But if you have the knowledge and if you're able to connect it, I feel you'll be able to reach to that perfect conclusion much faster, and you'll be able to jump away from a lot of the problems that you may face in the future.
Perfect.
Going
No, no,
back
no.
to
That's
your, oh, sorry, Lee, we've
no.
been
Go
talking
ahead.
over
Go
each
ahead.
other a fair bit today.
Go ahead.
Okay, just quickly going back to your, example, could you just expand in a bit more detail about how you sort of use game theory to model this, agricultural situation?
Yes, sure, yeah. So what I did is generally game theory. So I had just got into game theory, and I was working with mainly one-shot games, and they were games, simple one-shot games, which basically means the entire game is played out in one sitting. That it's not dynamic, so it's not, and that this is not exactly replicative of real life, but it's sort of an idea to break it down to understand the problem better, right? So you need two players generally, and so I did about four games, and I modeled four games. And in the first game, the players were farmers of say one state, say Punjab, and farmers of Haryana, right? So those are the two players that I've taken. And in the second and third and fourth game, I've taken the two players to be government and the farmers. So what has happened is, so in the first game, it is a classic of should I burn or should I not burn? So if say the farmers of Punjab decide to burn, how will the farmers of Haryana react? I mean, if the farmers of Punjab decide to burn, that means they can sell their product at a much lower cost in the market. But then what will that lead to farmers of Haryana who decides to not burn and instead employ more expensive methods to remove it? That means that will be accounted in their prices. So what is the demand drop that they might have? Right. So that is the first game. And the second game is the classic, the government deciding, should I find the farmer or should I not find the farmer? And then the farmer deciding, okay, considering the fines, should I burn it or not burn it? So this is sort of how I broke down the games, and all of the data that I've got was mainly through news articles, and I had to comb through news articles of that time to see what the reported fine structures were, or what the reported demand drop might be, and predicting a couple of things. But this is sort of the general way that I chose as a model.
No, it's quite interesting because it also links to other topics in economics, which is to do with externalities, right? Marginal
Yes.
cost of, marginal benefit of production, marginal cost of production, all that. So it's quite an interesting
Yeah.
topic, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Yes, of course, and I believe maybe once I do end up learning more about game theory, I mean, in my second degree, the applied econ, I would really love to visit back on this topic and see if I can improve upon the methods that I've done, because I feel if found the right choice, the right decision for the farmers as well as the government, both can benefit greatly. And I think that can really help the situation in India. As Delhi is one of the cities in India with one of the worst air quality, and if you've ever been there, sometimes you do struggle to breathe, and I feel tackling one of the major issues, which is stubble burning, especially during the harvest seasons, it would really help the environment as well as the economy.
No, no,
It's
great, great.
go for it, go
Sorry,
for it.
did you have any more questions? Do you have any more
No, no,
questions?
I was basically going to mention how it's quite interesting how game theory can be linked in loads of different places. Because I remember when I was back in school, I used to link it to, international relations and trades to do with, trade tariffs and all of that. But it's quite interesting to see, the different sort of applications. What one says, the traditional princess dynamic, it has a whole range of usage.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah, but it's
exactly,
not
exactly.
only the. Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
And I was just going to say there's reading it and looking at it in sort of further detail. It's amazing how how many applications you can put it into, and I just think that underscores how important it is to know it as someone in business. It's kind of that ubiquitous topic that everyone should know about.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Sorry, I was saying like Prisoner Dilemma is definitely one of the games. 100 of the games that are out there, and I feel each problem has a pattern that we have to match it with. So I think one of my games was Prisoner Dilemma. The other one was a chicken game, where the person who first gets out of it is a chicken, right? And then so it's just a matter of matching what the situation represents in the game theory, and then sort of modeling and then using that solution to find a solution for the real life. So I feel it's really interesting. And I think if you're able to find that pattern amongst the games and real life, you can use it for pretty much anything. I mean, I think eventually you might even be able to use it for our daily lives. For if you're deciding, okay, maybe should I go to the movies or should I go clubbing? Maybe a game theory approach would be interesting to look at.
Perfect. No, 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 no. That's really, really interesting. And so obviously, if people want to read further about your research, I think it's all on your LinkedIn, right?
Yes, yes,
The PDF,
it's up there. Yeah.
which we will discuss. I will point out to people at the end of the podcast, and we'll give a link in the caption. So at the end, we do a little rapid fire section. Obviously, we've spoken so much over this podcast on a lot of different topics. But I think two questions sort of come to mind to me, which I really want to ask you, if that's okay. Are we ready? So it's literally a couple of sentences, and we might push on you to explain a bit further on some of your answers. The first one is, are you able to name a entrepreneur that you look up to and explain why?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Are you able to name an entrepreneur that you look up to and explain why?
Mm, Honestly, to be very fair, it is my father because for me that has been the motivation from day one, right? I see him working and I see him jump from one industry to something completely different, and his mindset of really taking on something new. So initially, he was in food stuff, then he went into shipping, and then he went into corrugated cotton. Now he's also into tea, which is completely a different range of work, and the ability that he has showed, or the interest that he showed to jump into something completely new, learn something new, develop skills there is something that keeps me going every day. Try on something new, learning something new, stepping out of my comfort zones, and honestly, and since he has been my motivation from day one, I feel he is my entrepreneurial entrepreneur that I look up.
Look up to. And if you were obviously you're still at the beginning of your career, but if you were right at the beginning, starting before you started the startup, before you got so involved in the family business, is there a lesson that you wish you had known, or something that you wish you had known looking back now?
I think I think I would tell myself take things lightly
Yeah,
or don't get too overworked. So what happens is whenever things don't go well, we expect everything to go perfectly the way we want. Even if you say yes, you know what, we have to be open minded, adapt. Yes, that does happen. But at times when things don't really work out, I used to find myself in quite a fix, trying to figure out how to go about it. But then I learned later on that you know things one at a time, and generally everything will turn out fine as long as you're putting in the effort, and as long as you have a clear plan. Even if it's a long term thing, everything might not just happen on the single day, and then even on the timeline that you've planned. And I feel that is something that I would told myself, just take things lightly and just take a breath once in a while, calm yourself
yeah.
down, and then things might not work out exactly the way you want, but it'll always work out in the end if you have a clear plan and goals.
I think that's a really nice way to sort of end it, actually. A really good message. Obviously, so many stuff that we've spoken about today, which has been really insightful. But that was a really good one, wasn't it, Shaya?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think we've sort of spoken about so much today, and there's a lot to sort of take back on it. But if our viewers wanted to reach out to you, they can do that via LinkedIn, right? If they had any other
Of course,
questions or
of
anything
course,
else comes up, and especially with your capstone project as well.
of course.
They can read that. That's the PDF online, isn't it? So they can read that. So if you guys have anything else to ask Manu, yeah, please get in touch with him. We'll put his link to his LinkedIn on the podcast under the podcast. If you want to get in touch with him, learn a bit more, yeah, please do that as well. But yeah, no, thank you very much, Manu, for coming on today. It's been really great to speak to you. Obviously, there's so much we've delved into. We've kind of gone from topic to topic, but I think they all link together and sort of shown the entrepreneurial mindsets and what it takes to be a businessman in the 21st century, which has been great. So thank you very much. And
Thank you so much, Liam. It
I
was wonderful
I
talking to you.
think today, Shari, it's our last episode we're recording in 2024. So that's been great, but we've got so much to look forward to going forward. And so yeah, we hope everyone's doing okay. And we're looking forward to seeing what we've got next, haven't we, Shari? I'm not going to give any more further details because we'll let people wait and hear a bit more. And so yeah, look at our socials and get in contact with us if you have any questions. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening.